Hi guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? Um, I want to do some bed rant, and I want to do a particular topic that I haven't really totally made a video about yet, completely just on that topic, and that is a topic of gatekeeping, and sometimes applying that to mentoring, as in music mentoring and stuff like that, both in general a little bit, and in my specific examples of how I was mentored and kept. And in saying the term gatekeeping, I want to give credit to the moderator for inventing that term, at least in my from where I from what I what from my point of view, because I hadn't thought of that as a term. So thanks for inventing that, moderator. Gatekeeping is when somebody a gate is like a door with a sign on it. It's like an identified door. You go through here, but the gatekeeper wants a price. The gatekeeper wants to regulate. The gatekeeper wants to control. The gatekeeper wants to limit. And this is almost always good for the gatekeeper, and only rarely good for the person being gatekept. You gotta get that. The odds are against your favor of it working out for you. It works out for the favor of the gatekeeper almost every time, and it only rarely works out for the person that's actually on the that's actually gate kept. And I want to give an example of that in my own mentoring that I've experienced to me, and just explain a little bit. So the biggest glaring example of gatekeeping in my mentoring experience was DJ Alverson, who I love the dude. He's my only living mentor right now, with the exception of my guitar teacher himself, Tom Franks. I don't know where he is. He could be blind because he had macular degeneration. I just don't know where he is. I don't even know anything about him. But I had, other than my teacher, I had 3 mentors that just mentored me for free, which is really great, actually. Chris Chapman is a bass player. He unfriended me because of some stupid thing. It's because I didn't know what it did. I told him I didn't know if my computer had a disk drive in it, and he thought that was so stupid. He thought I was either very dumb or was lying to him. So he unfriended me over that. Can you believe that? Never talked to me again. I was really that dumb. I was naive. I didn't come into the computer age easily, and I wasn't born into the computer age. So there's that. But I'm in the computer age now, and yes, I guess I know there's a disk drive in a computer. Who cares? You know? The other 2 are John Harrelson was my greatest mentor. He was a guitar player, and he died. So I lost the greatest one. The second greatest one is DJ Alverson, who's still alive, and he's my current mentor. Hardly ever talks to me. But a lot of that has to do with, I think, the response I had to his gatekeeping on me. And I'm not sorry for my response. I don't know if he may not be sorry for the way he kept me either, because if he doesn't call me or take my calls much, so probably means he's not sorry for his end either, but I'm not sorry for my end of that situation. What it was like 1988. I had just quit Harvey Mudd, and I decided I was going to study music theory as a start to get me back into music. I needed something to focus on, and I cared about music, and music mattered to me. And rather than and I told DJ about that, and rather than I'm going to study music, rather than go with that and go, well, that's okay, that's cool, Jimmie, have good luck or anything like that. He just goes, well, the trumpeter for the Chicago, he didn't say that was what it was, but that's who it turned out to be, says that analysis is paralysis. You're going down a really hard road. Don't do it. Don't do this really hard thing. It's like he was trying to be cool or something. And he was gatekeeping my growth by doing that, as if to say, well, on his authority, don't do that. Well, I didn't follow that advice. I did it anyway. And I think it was good for me. And I think the gatekeeping was either lack of wisdom on his part or nefariousness. Either if he didn't know better, it was lack of wisdom. If he knew better, it was nefariousness. I think it was lack of wisdom. I don't think he meant any harm, but whatever, I don't know that. Only the gatekeeper himself would know that, or herself. In this case, it's a guy. But I've come out the other side of it now. I've done my theory. I've done my big, hard thing that DJ tried to advise me against. And I'm on a good point. I mean, gatekeeping is like, there's different, I think that there's different there's different mental styles languages, you could say. There's like love languages. People say there's love languages. There's different ways of expressing love that work for each person. Well, there's different thought styles, intellectual languages. And gatekeeping is like saying, it doesn't say it, but it's like saying, well, my language is right, yours is stupid. And I think that's not good. It's not good for the person that's being said that to. And it might not even be good for the person saying it, because it shows they're not a good teacher, which can really come back on them sometime, but who knows, whatever, that's a karma thing. But in my case, I was right. I was right to do theory because it got me where I needed to go. With my intellectual language, which is often analysis. Nothing wrong with that. There's other languages, such as maybe blind luck. You could just hope you get lucky when you pick the right note, or lucky enough to pick the right note. Or you could just say, I'm intuitive. I just go with the flow. Well, that may or may not work, and that may only work for you. Or you could say, I don't know, I just don't care. I just play bad music. Well, that's cool too, but that may not be what I want to do. But I wanted to play good music, and I wanted to get there by analyzing things, and I think it works. In fact, I just made another breakthrough that might be one of my final intellectual breakthroughs. It's just maybe not the final, but it really wraps up my study of music theory that I just got on my walk yesterday. It actually happened on my walk. Rather than tell you about it right now, I want to just show you in my playing. How about that? Keep it a secret for now. My analysis kind of finally came to a point where I think I understand what I'm doing with music. And to me, that puts me on the map. It puts me on the map of, to me, I'm not saying I am them, but it puts me on the level of Van Halen and Rhodes. Because they got where they got, however they got that way. It doesn't matter how you get there to me. It matters that you get there or not. Yeah, Joe Satriani commented about Eddie Van Halen. He said, yeah, Eddie Van Halen doesn't know a bunch of music theory, but try doing what he did without it. He had his way. Maybe he didn't know music theory, but either way, he knew music. He knew what he needed to do to play like that. And I think I do too now. Now, Eddie Van Halen may not have spent 30 years studying music theory, but he got there, so did I. And that's the point of the journey, is getting there. It's not like what kind of raft you use to get across the river. It's whether you got to cross the river or not. And my raft may have been different than Eddie Van Halen's, but I think that it should be a user-friendly river to cross, not someone with a gatekeeper like DJ saying, well, don't use this kind of raft. The raft I used got me across the river, and that's what matters for me. Not what kind of craft did I use to get across versus someone else's craft. Not my business. And the fact is, I got across the river, and that's what matters. So I love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.